Hello and welcome to my show, Quit Stressing. Yes, you heard right. Quit stressing. We all know how to stress, but very few know of ways to de-stress. This show will be discussing the main triggers of stress, as well as give tips on how to de-stress. I am your host, Suha Amer. Please stay tuned till the end of this episode for a bonus tip. Who amongst us does not stress daily? Today, we will tackle some of the most stressful challenges we face and ways that help us relax and create a balance between our personal life, careers, and both our physical and mental health. My guest today is Tatiana Davidov. She has a website design. She's actually a website designer, a professional photographer, and a podcaster. Tatiana is also a single mom of two now grown-up kids. Tatiana, welcome to the Quit Stressing Show, and thank you for being here to share your experiences with our listeners.
Thank you so much, Suha, for having me. I believe it's going to be fun to talk to you about all these interesting subjects, how to distress.
Thank you again.
And I would love to be part of it.
Thank you. Let's begin with, who is Tatiana Davidov?
That's a loaded question. If you ask my friends, they will most likely tell you that I am a big-time networker, and they will be right. I love to be in challenging situations and listen to people. I don't know, maybe in the previous life I was a psychoanalyst or psychotherapist. I don't know, but in this life I kind of have those qualities, and I combine them with web design, photography, and a podcast.
Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Okay. The idea of podcast was born during me surviving the first original stream of COVID. And I had a few episodes when I was talking about it because I really barely made it. There was so much for everyone to be scared, to be negative. So I kind of wanted to help myself to uplift me and share that strength of mine, I hope, with others. And it's even nowadays, I'm kind of always surprised when somebody will tell me, oh, we heard that episode or that episode. And I'm like, oh my God, people actually really listen to my episodes. I don't do them regularly, but I do when I can so far. And it's called On Air with Tatiana D. And this podcast is about success, positivity, and motivation in our now post-COVID times.
What brought Tatiana from having a podcast to another two kind of different kind of jobs, like you are a website designer as well as a professional photographer? So how do you combine this exotic combination of work?
Quite a few people ask me the same thing, starting with my own brother. Well, podcast for me right now, it's more of a hobby and a way to relax. And I don't know, just share my own personality with those who listen. And I know that my podcast even being listened to in Canada and Australia because I interviewed a couple of people from Canada. But I started this journey as a professional photographer, which started like probably some 30 years ago. At this point, I am a member of Professional Photographers of America, and recently, like about 2 months ago, I was accredited by Canon. So you can find my own personal page with my work on Canon main website, which is incredible, and I'm really humbled by that. But I needed to find a way to display my work, so I was looking for a website. And because I like to create, to do things with my own hands, so eventually, about good 10, 12 years ago, I finally found Wix, Wix.com. They are, at this point, global leaders in web hosting. And I built my own website, and I was wowed by my own whatever I thought it was good thing. And maybe a year later, Wix enrolled program to teach those who would want to become Wix web design experts. So they offered me to jump on board, which I did. It was a very hard course. At the end of it, they certified us. And that's how I started my journey as a web designer. So when I already was certified and I went back and looked at my that originally didn't website, which I built and I liked so much, I was like, oh my God, I did that horrible thing. It was so bad compared to my new skills and knowledge. So I revealed that. And eventually I joined their program of, at this point, I am a certified Wix web design expert and web accessibility specialist. It's something I'm very passionate to talk about, and trust me, it's half an hour not going to be enough if I'm going to start talking about web accessibility, because it's became a law to make all the websites accessible for people with mental, visual, and cognitive impairments.
That seems interesting.
Absolutely. I'm planning to do, I'm so busy that I have no idea how to tackle it all, but at this point, I'm proud to say that I am busy enough to start transitioning from building websites and doing business of my own to managing business. So I'm looking right now at a couple of people who are going to help me with certain different functions so I would be able to concentrate on bringing more business.
So, where does photography fit in the whole picture?
Well, it's called Webzilla Designs. And what I offer, it's different ways of creating memories, building a brand. I don't know. It just, to me, it comes naturally. I do both.
Do you do like portraits? Do you take pictures of nature?
I specialize in portrait photography, yes. Mainly black and white. And COVID kind of ruined my plans. I have a great friend of mine who is a book author who wrote 75 books on subjects of ghosts and ghost hunting, Michael Curry. And he is an amazing artist as well. So before COVID, we were planning to go to Zuma Beach and do something. He would paint and I would take pictures of the oceans, and we were planning to do the dual exhibit called Water and Light. It never happened because of COVID and because Michael has some health issues, but I don't know, hopefully one day we'll still do it.
You obviously have a lot on your plate.
Absolutely.
So this brings me to my other question.
Okay.
How do you cope with all this work and being a single mom?
Well, thank God my children already grown up.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest one is 28 and my son is 30. So my daughter is 28 and he's 30. I guess I'm learning how to meditate in my own way. I try not to let... it's a good question. I try not to let the stress to get the best of me. And instead of resisting stress, I kind of have learned how to let it run through my body and get out of body.
Do you have a way to be aware, to address what are the triggers that, that gets you into a distress mood, like
in a stressful mood?
In a stressful mood, yeah.
Usually, we get stressed when we care about something and we're really concerned that how we're going to manage it, how we're not going to accomplish something or something like that. And I used to be at the time when I used to have a lot of panic attacks.
Can you give me an example of what triggers you? Is it like on a daily basis or?
Right now, no. But I know that there were times, like even about a year ago, when I would stress out
about small things.
I would stress out about finances a lot because I've spent all my majority of my life in retail, as far as I was doing photography and web design and whatever, I was always afraid to drop retail because that was giving me a lot of stress from working for somebody else and doing whatever they want me to do, even sometimes it wouldn't make sense. But I was afraid to let go because so many people would say like, oh, there are so many other photographers. Oh, there are so many other web designers. What's going to make you think that you're going to succeed?
How did you manage that? So obviously you are already working with the
yes.
So how did you get from that position of people telling you that you're not going to be a successful photographer, let's say, and then now you had to have this kind of transitional aspect so that you made up your mind that, you know what, I'm gonna...
Somebody really special in my life kind of told me once, check the source. So I started looking, who is telling me? So for example, when people would come to me and say, oh, all those questions which I mentioned, how I'm going to succeed if somebody else already doing it, then I started asking myself, and I actually started asking them. So such and such person, you are saying I'm not going to succeed as a web designer or a photographer. Are you running your own business? No. Oops. If you're not running your own business, how can you give me advice how to run mine? So I started kind of separating and checking out the sources who actually can give me positive criticism versus somebody who wants to just bring me down. And that's a very important thing.
What gave you that power?
I don't even know how to say it. Just probably I was doing a checkup from the neck up and analyzing what's right, what's wrong. And then I got tired of having panic attacks.
Were you ever, you had panic attacks, you said. How did you deal? Can you explain what was the feelings that would take over when the panic attack comes?
It starts in the middle of your chest, and it's kind of like invisible hand kind of pulls and squeezes everything out of you with fear and fills it up with fear. And then what actually did help me, I won't even remember right now. Once I downloaded some app with meditation on my Samsung phone, and some unrecognizable, obviously, voice with very sexy British accent started explaining how to deal and how to analyze and process any type of fear. And I tried and it worked, and I will share that knowledge here as well. So the voice was saying, as an example, if the most common fear for a lot of people is finances. So let's say that I don't have enough finances for something and I'm scared about it. Will me being scared help the situation and give me more money? No. Will the being scared gonna give me a heart attack? Well, if I'm not gonna overrule it, probably, but still probably not. So the technique which I started using was like this. So let's say I would be afraid of, I don't know, something. So I would tell myself, okay, come and get me. And I'm going to count from 21 and down. So I would start 21, 20, 19 with more, slower speed. And finally, when I will come down to 1 and 0, and I'm like saying to that source of fear, see, you didn't get me, so go away, run through my body.
So for you to come to this stage in your life, did you, at the beginning of these panic attacks, were you aware that they were panic attacks, or were you afraid of that it might be another symptom for a more physical?
I had such severe panic attacks that I landed in a hospital with 2 or 3 times with fake heart attack. I thought it would be a heart attack. And I was told and explained that fear gives you that fake heart attack feeling. And I was even given prescription of lorazepam. I don't even remember. It's been like over 2 years, at least, if not more than that, since I stopped taking lorazepam because I've learned how to manage it.
What does Tatiana do for fun? Because it's obviously all work, work, work. Where does fun squeeze in Tatiana's life?
When I'm talking to my boyfriend who lives in another state. That's my way of fun. No, when it comes to fun, I don't know. Sometimes I go for a walk, and I try to walk every day. Doing podcasts sometimes, it's fun because I get to talk to people and interview them and ask them questions, learn something from them. I don't know, watch movies. I watch a lot of stuff. I manage somehow to watch movies too, so I don't have much time for fun, but I know that I have to have it in order to balance, and I'm all about balancing a lot of things in my life. So,
but you are keeping those rituals of de-stress on a daily basis. Are you following it up? Because it's I assume that if not, that you might have the same symptoms, back again.
You know what? Actually, it's a good question because, to be honest with you, I did not come up with the idea that I have to schedule the ritual, which I will. So I thank you for that. No, I do not keep up ritual, but I know that I have to. You're right.
Did you ever ask for professional help?
Yes, about 10 years ago, when I divorced the father of my children, I was in a very broken shape, let's put it this way. And I was seeing a therapist for about a year and a half. And not just that she put me together. I think I kind of absorbed the way how she was conducting her sessions, and that gave me kind of like, even right now, sometimes I go and remember what she would say, how she would ask this question. So she kind of inside my brain all the time. Helps me even through the distance and time.
What is your relationship with work? Because you're obviously saying that you are independent, you're working on your own. So how do you deal with the managing of all three aspects so that you put yourself out and be known and people can reach you? How do you manage all this?
I use a lot of automations and workflows, like, for example, web design, because that's the biggest part of what I do. I do get referrals from Wix on a daily basis. And Wix offers lots of automations to ease our ways. So let's say it's in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm asleep, but somebody is not. So somebody maybe from Australia or whatever sends me, I would get matched up by Wix computer for such and such client.
From Australia for the time difference, correct?
Yeah, that's why I'm using such an example. So the moment anybody's request for web work comes to my virtual desk, the same second they're getting already preset automatic reply from me with all the things that they need to know. And if they're going to get interested, they will book interview with me. And then it goes from there. So a lot of things, reminders, thank you, or let's say already such a person became a client, then instead of me spending a lot of time to explain to each and single one of them as I used to before, what are the rules, how to do this and that, I created a page with facts or with common questions.
Sort of calendar or something?
No. Oh. Page with facts, which is on my web my
fact
own
sheet.
website. Yes. So any new clients get a email from me that they have to become the members of my site and go to such and such page and read all commonly asked questions and send me whatever question is not there, they're going to send it to me. Then, for example, content, there is a way like Google Forms or whatever. So I do automate practically everything.
So you're organized, right?
I'm doing my best.
If Tatiana has to choose to let go of one of her jobs, which one would you choose to give up? You need to choose one, at least. I didn't say two. I said one.
That's a tough question, but I would put probably my, I don't know, it's going to be between photography or podcast, put it on hold, not to give up, put it on hold. I would never give up the web design.
Tatiana, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I hope that was helpful for our listeners. I'm sure they somewhere along the line your experience resonate with a lot of them.
I hope so.
And this is it for today. I want to thank my guest Tatiana Davidov for joining us and sharing the important tips on how to de-stress. You can follow Tatiana on her website, webzilladesigns.com. That's WebZillaDesigns.com, and also at lafamilyphotographer.com. And as I promised my listeners at the beginning of this episode, I will be giving the listeners an extra tip to de-stress. Today's tip is laugh. Yes, you heard correct. Laughter really is considered the best medicine out there. Multiple studies have proven that laughter lowers tension and improves blood flow, which in turn gives us healthy hearts. So it's time to watch that viral funny video, or perhaps listen to Uncle Joe's New Year's jokes again. And with that, my dear listeners, I bid you farewell. Please stay tuned for another episode of Quit Stressing next week. Until then, please stay calm and don't forget, laugh, laugh, laugh.